Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hello, everybody. Let's welcome Aubrey.
Hello.
Hello, Aubrey.
Hi.
How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Freaking delightful.
Love that.
Delightful, delectable. All the D words. Delicious, delectable, delightful. And we have different backgrounds today.
We're in different locations, both of us. It was unplanned.
Unplanned, but this is how we roll.
Mhm.
I'm in sunny, is it sunny today? I'm in sunny Florida.
You to check.
Yeah, I think it's pretty sunny today. So yeah, so I guess, in a way, this, my journey over here to Florida kind of had something to do with this idea, although I came up with this idea before I came to Florida. But my son's been sick. So it's, I've just been experiencing a particular type of behavior in a particular way because of that, which is there's lots of worry, which is fed by people who care, which is, I think, important to remember that it's, it comes from a caring, loving place. But it's, I've noticed it in society, and I was actually thinking about this more kind of in different scenarios than this particular scenario. And then this scenario came up, and it's like, oh my God, it's really there too. But like so actually I'd rather start with the bigger scenarios first. And the spiritual movement, this I don't even know what the heck to label it, like I don't want to call it the New Age movement anymore, or the New Age spiritual movement. It's just a movement of people waking up and being more conscious about what's going on in their lives, what's going on in their world, what they like, what they don't like, people quitting their jobs, starting new careers. Why? Because they're being more introspective. They're understanding that, life is short, and they should be doing what they want instead of what they think they need to, and stuff like that. So that level of awareness is really on the rise globally. And with a level of awareness, like I see this, like when you work with people, you see it. It's like once the level of awareness starts rising and people start seeing things for the way they are, usually the first reaction is like, oh crap, because like we're kind of walking through life rationalizing things away with blinders on, and we can't really do that anymore in this time in human history. It's, we're in the information age. It's shoved in your face all the time. There's problems everywhere. It's kind of hard for you to walk through life just whistling, pretending that there's nothing wrong with the world. So there is, and the first stage is panic. Oh my God, like, the government really doesn't care about us. Our health system is really messed up. Like there's still racism, like all these things, all these things that are going on, that are people are seeing them, and it's scary at first, but that's the first stage. When your eyes open, sure, it's going to be a little shocking when you start understanding the way, how dysfunctional this world actually is. It's offsetting, it's off-putting. So like at first it's shocking, but we need to learn what to do with that information and how to move forward. Now what? Okay, yeah, the world's a mess. Now what? Like, and that's when we land into a more calm energy, because you can't fix problems when you're crazy. You can't fix problems when you're manic, when you're all scared and fearful and freaking out. Like, you're all wrapped up in the emotion, and that does not lend to quality critical thinking. That our brain literally shuts down when we're in fear, and it doesn't think properly because it's trying to push us into fight or flight. So, so as we work through this stuff and kind of get our feet back on the ground and go, okay, so, acting out of fear, thinking out of fear is not benefiting me. Like, let's just look at this for what it is, gain clarity on it, see it for what it is, and navigate it to the best of our ability. You can't do that when you're all wrapped up in fear, And so what I'm seeing with a lot of people is, like, I'm not wrapped up in fear. I mean, does that mean that I never get fearful? No, that's not what that means. It just means, like, if I do get fearful, I don't stay there. I work my way through it, and then get to what I just explained, a more calm place where I can function from that. And it seems like a lot of situations, when people are wrapped up in the dysfunction and the sometimes, quite frankly, the horror of what's actually transpiring in this world, if you don't match their fear, they think that you don't understand. If you're not all up in arms freaking out, then you either don't care or you don't understand. So this is, so, they can be talking about anything, I mean, you can't throw a stick without hitting 14 people that have a cause that they're up for. Like, I mean, it's adopting dogs or saving the whales or you name it, man. There's millions of causes out there. And if you meet somebody that's associated with one of those causes and has leaned into it, and you don't mirror their outrage for what's going on, they think that you don't care or you don't understand. It's like, it's not it. It's not a healthy place to function from. So have you experienced some of this?
All the time. It's when people are triggered by things, and they live in a fear-based reality. You tend to see that a lot, and you tend to see like just in my experience, I can't think of like individual instances, but there's been many times, where people are. I look at it as over dramatic, just because it's. I don't want to pour my energy into something that might happen when it may not happen. I think that awareness is important, and to be educated is important, to know all of the possible outcomes. But I feel like when you live in that fear-based reality, you just go right for, well, this could possibly happen. And people are actually living in the energy of if it were to happen, versus living in the energy of where we are right now. And that's a possibility, but we'll get there when we get there. And, just to be not caught off guard if anything happens,
Right. And if we see that coming, we try to veer away from it because we're aware of it. Right. It's like, so it's, I see, it's like, my son being sick and, you go to a doctor and it's like, well, if you know that they can misdiagnose and that, there are good doctors on the planet and there are bad doctors on the planet, and you understand this, then you go in with an awareness, not a false expectation that they're going to save you. Correct. So therefore, just knowing that there are good doctors and bad doctors, and I mean on a deep level, not some, I know that there are bad doctors and good doctors. No, I mean really understanding it. Like, there is some messed up stuff going on in the medical industry. Severely messed up, warped stuff. And if I can, I could sit I can have a conversation about what's wrong with the healthcare system and get myself all worked up and all angry and frustrated that it's actually come to this and how little it helps people. Some of the people that I know, while of course it does help other people. So like I can get myself all worked up, but why? I don't like the way it feels, and it's not that I never do it. Sometimes I even do it. Sometimes I vent my frustrations about what's going on in the healthcare system. And I can be as passionate and upset and frustrated as anybody else. But when it comes time to talk about what's transpiring in my son's health or my health or anybody else that I care about, or how to navigate a situation, whether it's one of my clients or my son or myself, like I can't be in that energy. That's not a good thinking energy, So I have to be calm. I have to be clear. I have to be, okay, I understand that that's there, but I'm not scared of it.
Right.
Just me knowing that it's there is going to help me avoid it. I have got it on my radar, and I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen because it's on my radar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of like leaning into the energy of that, and I feel like that's what you see a lot, especially in that type of situation. It's like, well, did you know about this? And did you know about that? And people come at you. It's just, acting through their own fears and stuff. And if you don't, the relaying of information isn't enough. You need to almost match their energy back of panic and fear and worry. And if you don't, then you don't understand the severity of the situation and you're not educated.
Right. And I think honestly, I think like education is an extension of this. People think we have to know everything about everything. And it's like we don't. Like most 90% of the information that we are exposed to or that people think we need, we do not need. Mm-hmm. Like I know somebody that's going through extensive cancer therapy, and they're like, I can't believe how much information that they think I need. Like I don't need it. I don't need to be able to spell the type of cancer that I have. It's not important. Like, what do I need to do to treat this? That's what I need to do. Am I showing up? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing to treat the situation that I'm in? Yes or no? Okay, then most of the other stuff, I don't need to know every side effect that might possibly happen. Maybe if the stars align, like if I'm taking something and there's a side effect, then I can look it up and be like, hey, is this one of the side effects? Yep. I can ask my doctor, hey, is this one of the side effects? Yep. But I don't have to memorize 400 side effects, because I may or may not experience them because somebody in a trial did.
Yeah.
Like it's just overkill of information. And, people look like I function like this big time. I just do not stuff information into my head that I don't need. And 90% of the information out there, I don't need. So like I have to end conversations or direct them because I just don't have the patience to sit there and, have somebody explain every single dynamic and aspect and specific about what we're talking about. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. It's like a mechanic teaching you how he fixed your car. Like, I don't care. I literally don't care. Like, I mean, I have interest.
Yeah.
Like, so you dropped my gas tank and there was a fuel pump inside and there was a wire broke and you rewired it. And then now it works. Oh, that's interesting. And that took all of 10 seconds to explain. That's interesting to me. Now, some people want to explain the entire electrical system and, how the fuel pump is similar to the air pump and why, hypothetical reasons why the wire broke. And I don't care, man.
Yeah.
I don't care. And most things in life are like that. Like, just give me the overview.
Yeah, give me the cliff notes. I don't need nothing more than what I need to know. Just no fluff,
Yeah.
no anything. Yeah.
Yeah, just get to the point, man.
Right.
What's the point?
Right.
Well,
Right.
like your car was broken and now it's not. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's that. So this is the information. It's just we're addicted to information and we think that it gives us power, and it doesn't. What gives us power is calm, rational thinking. I think people are way more intelligent than, people run around saying people are idiots all the time. And I just don't believe that that's true. Because I've only met like maybe a couple of them my entire life. 99.9% of the people that I've met are completely intelligent enough to walk through life. Now, I might disagree with some of their logic, with some of their decision making, and I know for a fact many people disagree with mine, which is fine. But basic intelligence, we're good. We don't need this in-depth understanding about we don't need to become professionals on everything. We just need to, do, because if we look at it, it's not going to change our decision.
Right.
It's not going to impact our life one way or another. So therefore, it's ego driven. That's one of the best signs to see if you're trapped in your ego. I do that regularly. Like if something kind of keeps popping into my head and I keep contemplating something, I go, okay, wait a minute. I think I need to know the answer. I go, well, what? Like, what if the answer is yes?
Right.
Like, how is my life going to change? What am I going to do differently if the answer is yes? Well, nothing. There's nothing I could do differently. Okay, what if the answer is no? Well, again, I wouldn't be doing anything differently. It's not within my power to control it. Oh, okay, then that's an egoic trap. That's just my ego feeding itself because it's a dog chasing its tail. It's a constant source of food that will never run out because there is no real answer. And if I found one, there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about it anyway.
Yep. Yeah, it's a no win. And you're constantly searching. No. Yeah, it's there's no end. The end of the rainbow. There's none.
Yeah, there isn't. Yeah, so it's general knowledge. General knowledge is helpful.
Yeah.
And if there's a specific area where you need more specific info, then you gather it, and you'll know. Like you'll know if you slow down and you're conscious, and you're not just gathering it because you think you're supposed to know. Like when I, so this is how I live. I don't really have a lot of knowledge, a lot of specific knowledge about a lot of things. And 90% of my life, I can just navigate life like that. Every once in a while, a situation arises where I need more specific information on a specific topic. So what I do is I go get that information. How do I know I need it? Well, because I'm kind of stuck. And I go, what would unstuck me? Well, some more information. Oh, okay. Well, I'll go get that more information. But that more information, not everything that ever had anything to do with it.
Just that. Specific.
Just that. And if I need more, I'll know. Because I won't be able to answer the question yet. So I'll gather more. You know? So me, I take in knowledge on a as need to know basis. If I don't need to know it, I don't care.
Right. Yeah. No, and you have, only so much space that you can utilize at a time. Mentally.
That's why, yeah.
Like I really want to pick those things, and it's not going to be fears and worries of things that may not happen, because that can really, all it does is rob you from your now. It really, and cause that anxiety, and no one needs that.
No, and I think people confuse it with passion too.
Mm,
When they get all riled up and they're really passionate about a subject, like to me, that's a wonderful thing. I love seeing people that are passionate about, what they're doing, but people confuse passion with fear, and getting all worked up because the energy is kind of similar. They're up, they're like that type of energy, it's just really overpowering and so like there are some similarities, but they're very different energies,
yeah, absolutely.
you know.
Yeah. And so do you think it's possible for someone, like, how do you recognize if you're falling down that that rabbit hole of leaning into what you don't need to lean into?
Well, I think what we need to do is we just need to start questioning things more. Like this, we just have to question everything, and we'll be able to see, what we're doing. And this is what we don't do enough. We don't slow down enough to just question and look at ourselves. This is why, like 90% of the time, if I tell people that they're being fearful about something they're passionate about, they tell me I'm wrong before I finish the sentence. They don't even entertain the possibility that maybe they are.
Yeah.
And that is, this is why we need to slow down and question things. And you'll see the answers.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not that complicated. Like if you're being defensive about something, like one time, like last week, I was asking somebody for some information because I needed some, and they had some fear around the situation because they had experienced a similar situation. So I was asking a question, and I kept feeling the fear hits. It was like, oh well, you have to watch out for this and you have to watch out for that. It's like that. I understand. Yes, this is why I'm having the conversation with you, because I know that this type of stuff, and I know that the people in the healthcare industry do not, and I can't trust what they're saying. This is why I'm having this conversation with you, because I know that helpful information, and I know that I can't trust them.
Yeah.
But they kept telling me how much I couldn't trust them. It's like I got it. I got it. Can
Like,
we
so
just
what do I do with this information?
Yeah, like I understand that I can't trust them. And but then they'll throw out 4 hypotheticals that have nothing to do with the situation to prove that I can't trust them. I got that I can't trust them, So I was trying to explain, and they were actually spiritual, so I was trying to explain something more energetic, that like my son and I were both getting the feeling that this wasn't, like, we're going to be able to navigate this within a reasonable amount of time and everything was going to be fine. Like, we're going to get through. This was not going to be a lifelong ordeal that we're going through. We're going to find a solution. We're going to navigate that. And I was trying to use an example to express that point. And I said something about, like, he saw somebody that had, because Lyme disease is on the table. We don't know if he has it or not. But he said when he heard that term, he immediately went to somebody he knows that has a family member that has it. And all they happen to do is sit around, drink beer, and lay on the couch and just not interact with life. But he was getting the feeling that basically laying out on the couch for years on end was not going to be his experience. So my point was that somebody had Lyme, they were not taking care of themselves, but it was also laying them out. But he didn't get the feeling that was going to be him. It was just this person was spiritual, and I was just talking about spiritual feelings and how we get feelings and stuff. I was trying to express that point, and they immediately, within a couple seconds, were messaging, came back and said, you know, people with Lyme are not lazy and don't sit around drinking beer. Like that wasn't the point. That
wasn't the point.
I literally started laughing and left a voice message, and I said I was not implying that people with Lyme disease are all lazy people who drink beer and lay on the couch.
This individual circumstance.
I was just saying that was some vision that he had in his head from some experience, and the point was that it was ongoing and he was laying around, and that wasn't going to be his experience. That wasn't, you know, you completely missed my point. Well, why did the point get missed?
Yeah.
The point got missed because of defensiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Where does defensiveness come from? Fear. So now I understand that this person probably was in immense amount of fear because of the situation that they had experienced. I understand that they probably navigated it and found some solutions, and now we're helping other people with this situation, which is, you know, that's really the big picture. That's the beauty of it all, right? Of their journey. But there is, the point I'm making is there is some residual fear there because of the experience and the turmoil they went through. And when I'm talking to somebody about energy and spirituality and coming at this from a spiritual perspective, I can't have that incongruent energy. I can't have fear energy in it. So I was asking if we could just keep the energy neutral. Let's just keep the energy neutral. We can't let it drop into fear. I'm not fearful. Okay, so I just have to drop the conversation because I'm not going to convince them that they're fearful because they're not even open to thinking that they might be.
Yep, they're not coachable or receptive. Yeah.
Right. They're just like, so then it's difficult for me because I feel energy so much. So now it's like I have to navigate whether I can work with this person or not, because I understand that they have valuable information that could be really helpful, and I want to hear it, but it's like nails on a chalkboard whenever the fear comes in.
Yeah. You
know, and it's really hard for me to have conversations with this when all I'm feeling is fear, and they're saying something, and I'm trying to weed through all the fear and pick out the clarity that they gain through their experience. That's actually really helpful, you know. So this is, and that's something I think that kind of spawned this topic. It's something that I've been having more and more difficulty with, quite honestly, over the last several months. It's just I'm feeling the energy so strongly when I'm interacting with people that it's almost overpowering. Like, yeah. I guess the energy is just increasing with this spiritual shift happening, and it's just like, you know, you think it's like, hey, it's for the welfare of your son. Just put aside the energy and take in the information. But it's like in a rainstorm, trying not to get hit by the drops. You know, like, yeah, it's just everywhere, and it's hard to just
get away from.
Yeah, so it's hard to navigate and stay on that path and be like, okay, you know, this is clear, helpful information. This is fear-based stuff that I have to shove aside, and it's all meshed and mixed together and stuff. So it's hard to separate.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's very oversaturated. You can just see. I mean, you say it all the time. People, you know, live through love or fear, and that's a realm that's. I don't know the exact percentages, but it's mostly fear. You know?
And it's
the thing, like, you know, we attract energy, you know, and we starve what we don't want, and when that comes at you from all angles, it's really hard to not take that on. You know, it's tough. Yeah, because once you take that on, you're leaning into it, and you know, it's not a good situation.
Yeah, and it's tough because my son's sick, so that triggers my emotions. right?
Right.
Because I love him and I care about him. So now all of a sudden I'm like, Glenn, you need to, it's okay to feel those, but you can't interact with them when you're working towards a solution.
Right.
So you have to, so you can feel those when you're not trying to figure something out or not trying to navigate something. I can feel my emotions. But then when I am trying to navigate something, I have to put all that, my emotions aside, clear my mind so I can think clearly and navigate this appropriately, and feel the energy of things. So I can use that to help me navigate.
Right.
So I'm doing that, but then you've got, family members that are worried. You've got extended family that's worried. You've got doctors that are incompetent. You've got nurses that are incompetent. Unfortunately, this was our experience. I know that there are competent doctors and nurses out there, but they ain't at the place that he went to.
Right.
Or they at least weren't the ones that he went to. They're highly incompetent. I mean, losing blood work and telling him to go get X-rays for something that he had already had X-rays for 3 days earlier. Like it just, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's just endless to the incompetence levels that he's experienced in this situation. So you've got the frustration from that, and then the frustration for the healthcare system as a whole. And then other people saying that they're specialists that aren't involved in the healthcare. And then, oh my God, there's a treatment center 45 minutes from here that specializes. Oh my God, how wonderful is that? That's great. Oh, $25,000? That's where the treatment starts? Ooh, okay. So, so now all of a sudden, you see, I'm navigating the problems with the public healthcare system of incompetence. And then when you find somebody competent, you can't afford to go to them, so it's, and you're navigating all this stuff. So it's like, it takes a fair amount of energy to stay calm and clear, navigating all this stuff, so it's, you have to do that. And then, so I'm kind of using all my energy for that. And then all of a sudden fear comes in. And it's like, I'm sorry, I don't have the patience for you. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. To protect your energy like that. I liked your example, like you're dodging raindrops in a rainstorm. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I've experienced this a lot too. It's just I don't want to say mob mentality, but it also, like, people really feed into that, one and then the next, and then everyone has a story, everyone's got the story of what happened and their friend and, whatever. And we just got to stay safe.
Yeah. And the worse the story is, the more important it is. Have you noticed that?
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, like out bottom. It's the out bottom thing. It's,
Yeah, my friend was sick for 3 weeks because of that, and then they got better. That's not that important. My friend died.
Right.
Oh, well, that's important. And if you look at what this is what's interesting about fear, right? So my friend died because of that. That's more important, right? We go, oh my God. Everybody gasps, and we all act like this is serious information that we really need to hold on to because it's death and it's serious, right? And then you look at the numbers, and 90% of the people are sick for 2 weeks. 9% are sick longer. 0.01% die. And that's what that's the important piece.
Yeah.
The thing that happens to 0.01% of the people that are in your situation, that is where you need to put your consciousness. This is what you need to put in the forefront of your mind. This is what you need to keep in mind and consider all the time when you're navigating this difficult situation. No, I don't need to navigate that because it's highly, 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 highly unlikely.
Right.
And I don't want to put my energy towards that. Is that now, if I navigate this, Like if I navigate the sickness, is it likely that I'm going to avoid the death if I navigate the sickness properly? Well, yes. Okay, then I'll put my energy into navigating the sickness to prevent that death, as opposed to putting my energy and my attention on the death and trying to make everything work off of that. You know,
like I'll start
off this fear-based mentality.
For that versus leaning. Yeah, it's so backwards. It's so backwards.
Yeah, we find the worst case scenario, and you know, and it's just very unlikely that it's going to happen, and we act like that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
We dismiss 90% of reality to focus on 1%. You know, I don't. A good exercise for that, like, was driving. You know, years ago when well, it was actually when I visited the DR and I came back here and I hadn't driven for a while. So I'm over here and I noticed myself getting irritated, and I'm like, whoa, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting irritated driving. So I was like, well, if I'm going to judge, I should judge fairly. So if I judge the people who are driving poorly, I should also credit the people who are driving correctly. So I started driving, and I'm like, idiot. Then I'm like, okay, well, who's driving properly? I'm like, oh, this one. You know, and like, there was like, you know, in 3 minutes, there's like 90 cars driving appropriately and 2 that weren't. And I'm like, wow, look at where I put my attention. I get all jacked up about 2 people that are not driving in a way that I deem appropriate, which who am I to judge anyway? But you know, whatever. Like, you know, I'm putting all my attention on 2% of bad drivers when 98% are driving just fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
Why are you focusing on the only negative? That's actually a lot less than all the positive in front of you.
Right. So just, you know, so I was actually, when I did that, in like 3 minutes, all of a sudden I felt this gratitude come over me. And I was like, wow, like, I can't believe how many wonderful drivers there are on the road. It's amazing. It's literally amazing how many good drivers are on the road compared to bad.
I don't know if anyone in the history of Philadelphia has ever had that thought. That's amazing.
Philly. Yeah.
Maybe today.
Maybe today. That's it. I mean, if you just judge fairly, so if you say they're wrong, you have to say everybody else is right, whoever's doing it right.
Wow. What if instead of flipping people off for bad driving, we start yelling positive things to them in traffic? We're like, you did a great job with that turn signal back.
Yes.
Right?
I knew exactly where you were going. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. Amazing stop at the red light. Amazing.
Yeah. You just eased on the brakes at the right speed. It wasn't too sharp. It wasn't too slow. Thumbs up.
I think this needs to be a thing. I think it's time to normalize this. I'll get a megaphone. I don't even care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those electric megaphones that really project it. You know?
Yeah. One that goes on like the top of the car kind of thing.
Oh, there you go.
Like the real deal. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, you got to come over to the DR for some inspiration. In the DR, they have those that I mean, the truck is like a 1978 Toyota that is just beat to living crap. There isn't a square inch on that thing that isn't dented. There's no paint left on it. It's just barely moving. Half the tires are going like this, just all out of whack. And they're driving this thing through the mountain roads packed with veggies in the back with a loudspeaker on front going, "We got plantains," in Spanish. And this will echo for like a mile. Like these sound systems are incredible. I don't know what the hell they have in these sound systems, but
Oh my gosh. I gotta find out. Yeah. I gotta ask them
yeah.
using.
Yeah, because it probably costs like $1.32, over there to get this sound system.
I'm gonna have to come to for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, it's hilarious.
That's so great.
Oh. But yeah, so anywho, so I think it's the, it's I think it's a good way to make the point is the fear that is normalized in society. When you get sick, or when somebody's in danger, or all this typical stuff that people worry about. Is my child going to find out what they want to do for the rest of their life? Absolutely anything that people worry about on a regular basis. Just look at that, and one, see that your worry is not serving you. It's not helping you. It's not helping the other person. There was somebody, and I can't remember the name, but I saw, I think it was one of Oprah's Super Soul Sundays, where this woman wrote a book. She was like she was some really advanced job. Like, I don't know what the heck she did, but she was very intelligent and highly capable in this career that she was in, really successful and stuff. And she had like I think it was a stroke. And when she woke up in the hospital, she was very, very sensitive to energy. So much so that she put a sign on the door of her hospital room that she was in for a very long time. Please be aware of your energy before entering. Because people would come in to take care of her, and they weren't conscious of the energy that they were in. They're just like, I got to clean her bedpan. Let's get to bed. Like that type of just, like perform a task energy, manic, kind of caught up. I have to hurry up and get this done so I can do the next thing type energy. And she could feel that so strongly that it really impacted her. So, this is what it reminds me of. Like, let's just start being, those of you that are awake or aware or working on yourselves, because we can't expect the general public to do this. I mean, they're caught up in it. That, like, they could hear this podcast and be like, I don't know what he's talking about, and literally be walking around in fear all day long, and they just aren't able to hear it. So, we have to focus on the people that are working on themselves and waking up. So you guys, just ask yourself, slow down and look at this. When you experience fear, don't normalize it. See if you can, be like, okay, I have some fear. I can allow myself to feel it, but I really should, transcend it or put it on the back burner while I try to navigate what to do intellectually so I can think clearly. Don't use it to function out of, and if there's little residual fears about your past experiences, see if you can go through them and kind of put them aside and work through them and see like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that was my experience, but it's highly unlikely that it's going to happen again. And it's highly unlikely that it's going to happen to other people. So I can tell them of my experience, but I don't have to tell them about my experience through the energy of fear. Right. And if you're awake and aware and you're capable of being honest with yourself, you're going to be able to navigate that. So I think that's how we can start chipping away at this. And then, and then when it's being projected onto you, I think, we have to kind of start calming people down. That's what I've done with, before I even got over here to take care of my son. I had at least 4 phone calls that the majority of it was, there was 10% information giving and 90% calming them down. Wow. Because people yeah, I'm the dad.
That's the most.
I'm in the Dominican Republic. My son is in Florida. He's sick. He's in the hospital. And I'm spending all my time calming everybody else down.
Oh
You know?
man, I've had those conversations, and eventually I'm just like, listen, this is happening to me, and I am not as concerned as you are. So
Right.
I need you to check yourself, please. I don't
Yeah.
need, I don't need to spiral. I don't need, all that negative that I just want to stay where I'm at. If there's not anything I need to know, please stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. And I've actually found that people, of course, people in my life, I've been living like this for almost 20 years. So they're kind of getting used to me by now. So that probably has an impact on it. However, I think people as a general rule are becoming more receptive to this mentality. Even if they're a little bit confused, or I shouldn't say confused, wrapped up in their own fear, and they're not ready to do their own work on themselves, it's getting to the point where this type of thinking and behavior is rising so much that if you just say to somebody like, you're just something like that doesn't sound spiritual, like, there's a lot going on, and it's like it just, everybody's worried, and I understand that you're worried because you care, but we just need to keep the worry kind of at a minimum. So, because otherwise it just gets overwhelming and I can't even think. You say something like that, people kind of go, oh, okay, I understand.
Like you're stressing me out more than the circumstance is stressing me out. Okay.
Yeah. No, what's funny is my son literally said that to somebody. He was like, somebody was stressing out, and he was telling, I don't know if he showed me a text or if he told me, I don't remember, but he basically said that. He's like, I'm going through this and I've got a lot to deal with, and you are literally making it worse, 10 times worse. So stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. So that, people are, people, no matter if they're working on themselves or not, a lot of people are good people at heart, and they can understand that. I'm in a tough situation, and all this fear and worry is making it more difficult. So can we just tone it down a little?
Yeah.
So that can be a good way to help people, just to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure.
So yeah, so hopefully there's some helpful hints. Of course, we used a lot of extreme examples in this podcast because that's a good way for most people to see it. So a clear example. So these are extreme examples, but keep in mind everything has varying degrees. So this is going on in your life. This is why we need to slow down, because a lot of people, especially at our spiritual, are walking around projecting fear onto others and living in it themselves, and they're unaware of it. So just slow down and go look for it. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. Like, you don't have to defend your fear. It's okay that you have fear. It's natural. You probably went through a difficult situation that induced it into you, and then it got stuck on you. It's completely natural. Yeah. It's just, try to go in and look for it and then release it. You'll be a lot calmer. You'll be able to help others better. It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good in a spiritual neighborhood.
All right.
All right. Well, that'll do.
Awesome.
That'll do.
Well, thank
all
you.
Right, well, thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, people. Thanks for listening. And we will talk with you soon.
Till next.
Looking for more? Check out over 200 episodes of Life Lessons and Laughter, or click the link in the description of this episode to connect with Glenn directly.